Hello and welcome. I am GameScribe and this is Mount&Blade Warband. I'm going to actually start a new series here. As you can tell, I play a lot of games. I'm going to try and play Mount&Blade Warband. I've played this game for 240 hours and have not yet beaten it. And that is going to change right now. And you guys and girls, if you're watching, y'all, I'll just refer to y'all as y'all, will see me as I adventure from a lonely person into the king of this impoverished land. Alright, so here we're going to create our backstory in case you want to roleplay. I'm going to say that my father was a veteran warrior, and interestingly, depending on what you choose here, can actually give you certain benefits, such as, I honestly don't know what a warrior, if you choose a warrior veteran, but, as a child, your family scrabbled out of meager living from your father's wages as a guardsman to the local lord. It was not an easy existence and you were too poor to get much of an education. You learned mainly how to defend yourself on the streets, with or without a weapon in hand. You started to learn about the world almost as soon as you could walk and talk. You spent your early life as. And so this can give you, like, I believe if you choose a page at a nobleman's court, could possibly give you, like, 1 intelligence. A shop assistant can possibly give you an extra skill in bartering, and so on. But I'm going to say I was a page at a nobleman's court. Actually, I'll say I was a craftsman's apprentice. Why not? As a boy growing out of childhood, you apprenticed with a local craftsman to learn a trade. After years of hard work and study under your new master, he promoted you to journeyman and employed you as a fully paid craftsman for as long as you wish to stay. Then as a young adult, life changed as it always does. You became a squire, a troubadour, a university student, a goods peddler, a smith, or a game poacher. I believe if you choose a game poacher, you will automatically get a bow when you first start out. I don't know what a smith will give you. I think a university student will give you an extra point in intelligence. I think a squire will automatically give you more renown and will immediately allow you to choose a banner for yourself. I think a goods peddler will give you an extra skill in bartering. I'm going to go with the university student. Though the distinction felt sudden to you, somewhere along the way you had become a man, and the whole world seemed to change around you. You found yourself as a student in the university of one of the great cities, where you studied theology, philosophy, and medicine. But not all your lessons were learned in the lecture halls. You may or may not have joined in with your fellows as they roamed the alleys in search of wine, women, and a good fight. However, you certainly were able to observe how a broken jar is set, and how an angry townsman can be persuaded to set down his club and accept cash compensation for the destruction of his shop. But soon everything changed and you decided to strike out on your own as an adventurer. What made you take this decision was... So, I believe you choose a personal revenge that gives you an extra point in strength. Being forced out of your home, a list for money, power. I'm going to go with personal revenge. Alright, I'm going to say... Let's go realistic. I normally don't go realistic, but let's go realistic. To start out with, I'm going to put 2 points in strength and 2 points in intelligence. I'm going to get Iron Flesh, Iron Strike, Iron Draw, and Surgery. And I'm going to put all my points into One-Handed and Archery. And no, that is not the Bane from the Batman trilogy. He is actually from the Star Wars lineage, so... Let's randomize. See if we can find a good one. Yeah, I'll go with this guy. So now I can choose where I want to... I can either go into the Kingdom of Swadia, the Vigors, the Khans, the Nords, the Rodux, or the Cyrenid. I'm probably going to butcher that one a lot, but I'm probably going to go into Swadia because all the other ones actually are really, really hard to survive in. And so it spawns us in a town, and we have a crossbow and a sword and shield. And we get attacked by one lowly man. And so he gives us a quest I'll go over here and talk to him. Oh, I meant to press F. So he wants to make a proposition. We've always had brigands in the hills, driven by banditry, by war, debt, or love of violence. Recently, however, they've been getting bolder, leaving their camps in the wild and venturing into town, looking for unwary prey. The watch commander tells us it's because of all the fighting on the frontiers. Fewer men to keep an eye on the streets, but I'm not sure what to make of that. It seems to me that the most logical explanation is that these bandits have an ally inside the walls who helps them enter unnoticed and helps them identify particularly tempting targets. Last week, you see, they took my brother. I don't know what my brother was thinking, a lad from a prominent house out alone after dark in times like these. Well, I suppose you were too, but you're a stranger here and didn't know how bad things had become. He had no excuse, but he's family, so what can you do? So what can you do? If you don't protect your kin, then people will start thinking that you can't protect your investments either, and I can't have that. No doubt the gang will soon send word about a ransom, but I don't care to pay it. So here's my proposition. You look like you've had a bit of a experience with the blade, and more importantly, you must have a bit of a fire in your belly, or you wouldn't be coming to Calridia to seek your fortune. So here's what I'm asking you to do. Gather a small party, track these bandits to their lair, teach them a lesson they won't forget, and get my brother back safe. In return, you'll earn my lasting gratitude. You'll earn my lasting gratitude and a bit of silver. What do you say? You have to accept the mission. If you don't accept the mission, then he won't do anything for you. Alright, so I'm going to try and run away from these guys because I will get killed by them. So here you're allowed to run around the open map. And I am running a mod currently on, I think it's called Vexed Native. Basically, this mod is basically the base game. However, it increases XP gain slightly, so you don't have to work nearly as much. It increases how many people you can recruit from towns. And it increases the amount of ammunition for arrows and throwing weapons, though I find throwing weapons to be completely crap. Splendid work. You have hired enough men to take on the bandits. Now, travelers entering Praven have told us that there's a small group of robbers lurking on the outside of town. I suspect that they are all from the same band, the one that took my brother. Hunt them down and defeat them, then make them disclose the location of their lair. So we have a new quest. I think they're literally right outside. There we are. Band of robbers. So we are gonna win this match. We have 12. It's 12 to 1, and you can see right here I have 100 people at max, so the fights can get pretty intense. I'm checking my map to see where they are on the map. I've rarely ever used a crossbow, because in order to use the crossbow you actually have to be mounted to the ground. You can't do it on horseback, except for the hunting one. Most of the time I'm a bow guy. I will use a bow and arrow instead. Alright, so I single-handedly kill those people. So then they give us the location of the... I'll take that. They give us the location of their lair. And I took the... And after every battle you can choose to loot what they have. Alright, so I'm gonna... If you press control and space, I didn't know this for the longest time, but if you press control and space, it will automatically fast forward. Although be careful, because if you are at times of war, you can get ambushed by enemies if you don't have good spotting, and they can kill you very, very easily. Alright, so now we are invading their base of operations. I normally don't do this. There's several factions in this group, in this game. A bunch of bandits, essentially, but they're different varieties are difficult. But I usually farm them because they usually give good amounts of money, EXP, and items, and loot. So I would rather most likely have, unless it's like a Sea Raider and I don't want to fight them, because eventually the Sea Raiders just get annoying. I have no idea where the rest of these guys are at. Oh, here's one. Someone's throwing a rock at me. As you can tell, the graphics aren't the best, but this game was released several years ago, and honestly, the content in this game makes up for its poor graphics. And I started playing this game again because Bannerlord, which is Mount&Blade 2 essentially, is supposed to come out sometime this year. Supposed to be. And I will probably get it day one. Alright, so we got him. And we can choose to loot everything. And I'm going to take this tempered falcon because it's actually worth 700. And it's better than my rusty sword. I'm going to take the nomad boots because I get 10 plus defense than my woolen hose whatever they're called. And now we can choose to upgrade our soldiers. And so basically most factions have 2 skill trees that they can go under. They probably have more, but I normally only go for 2. Alright, so we have his brother, and we're going to go all the way back. I'm going to skip forward a bit, hopefully not get attacked by a bunch of forest bandits. Going to the tavern. Here he is. So he gives us 200 gold. Well, my brother is home safe. I'm not sure what to do with him. Maybe pack him off to a university outside Calridia. That way, if he gets knocked on the head in a street brawl, no one can say it's my fault. But that's not your problem. Here's the rest of your reward. It was well earned. So now he gives us another proposition. Remember how I told you the bands have an ally inside the walls? I think I know who it is. The captain of the watch, no less. Some months ago, this captain, saying the amount of profit we merchants were making from trade across the frontiers, decided to borrow some money to sponsor a caravan. Unfortunately, like many who are new to commerce, he failed to realize that great profit only comes with great risk. So he sank all his money into the most expensive commodities, and of course his caravan was captured and looted, and he lost everything. As a consequence, it seems, our captain turned to villainy to recoup his fortune. I suppose I'd do the same if, the heavens forbid, I ever faced indebtedness and ruination. Now, any watch captain worth his salary will have a few thieves and robbers on his payroll to inform on the rest, but our captain decides to employ these bastards wholesale. He brings them into the town, lets them do as they will, and takes a share of the take. You've heard of poachers turning gamekeepers? Well, in the unfortunate land of Calidia, sometimes gamekeepers will turn poacher. Luckily, there are still a few brave, honest souls in the watch who told me how he works. Now, here's my plan. I could bring this to the attention of the king, lord of the city, but that would mean an inquiry. My word against the captain's, and witnesses can be bought and evidence destroyed. Or maybe the whole thing will be forgotten if the enemy comes across the border again, and all I'll get for my trouble is a knife in the ribs. In time of war, you see, a king's eye wanders far from his domain, and his subjects suffer. So I've got another idea. I've got a small group of townsfolk together, some men in my employ and some others who've lost relatives to the bandits, and we'll storm the captain's house and bring him in chains before the king, hopefully with a few captured bandits to explain how things stack up. All I need now is someone to lead my little army into battle. So basically he wants us to basically overthrow the city watchguard. And this is reminiscent of how we're fighting looters, so this will be easy. When you're attacking cities, this is essentially how it is. Unfortunately, actual city invasions are not that big. Normally, it's only like you might kill 5 to 10 people in this type of area. Okay, so that was it. Ah, well done, I saw at least 3 of the enemy go down before you. Keep fighting like that and you'll make quite a name for yourself in this land. Unfortunately, about 9 of my lads got themselves wounded. I should go look on. Let every villain learn to fear the name Bane. Yes, yes. Now a couple of my boys have the watch captain pinned down in a back room with a knife at his throat. I'll need to go drag him before the king and explain what this breach of the peace is all about. You don't need to be part of that, though. I'll tell you what. If all goes well, I'll meet you in the tavern again shortly and let you know how it all came out. If you don't see me in the tavern, but instead see my head on a spike over the city gate, I'll assume you know enough to stay out of town for a while and forget this whole episode ever happened. So hopefully we'll meet again. Well, he sounds cheery. So he told us to go meet in the tavern. Bane, things didn't go quite so well as I had hoped. The king couldn't quite find it in him to overlook my little breach of the peace. Oh, he's grateful enough that I got rid of his crooked captain, a guard who will let in bandage. A guard who will let in bandage will let in enemy army if the price is right. But he can't exactly have me running around here as a lasting reminder of his failure to take care of things himself. That hardly seems fair. Fair, this is Calvidia, my boy. Kings do what they will, and the rest of us do as they must. He didn't string me up, and instead gave me time to sell my properties, even put in a word with the other merchants that they're best pay me a fair price, too. That's gracious enough as King Joe, but he's a weak king, as they all are here, and weak kings must always look to their authority first in just a second. I suppose I'll do the same in his shoes. Anyway, I won't go rubbing your part in this affair in the king's face, but he's taken note of you and decided that you're not worth hanging. And that's something to which I'll raise a glass any day of the week. He might even have work for you further down the road, or you can sell your sword to one of his compatriots. Anyway, I hope you've learned a bit about what it will take to stay alive in this troubled land, and I suspect that the money you've earned won't go to waste. Good luck. So basically, he has to leave town, and we probably won't see him again. But that's just a brief instance of how combat works in this game. Let's go fight these 24 loops. I didn't want to go up to that huge mountain, especially on horseback. So if you press tab, leave as soon as the match starts, it'll actually cycle through one of the 3 other maps. And I'm pretty sure I don't want my troops to fight on the mountain because, I mean, the enemies will just throw rocks at me and kill me instantly. Yeah, so you can see way up there. That's not going to be anywhere near. But, way up there, if I would have sent my troops up there, they would have gotten slaughtered. Especially considering we're outnumbered. About 2 to 1. Alright, so now most of the enemies should be on the ground, so I'm going to send my troops after them, even though they'll probably get killed still. And probably in the next few minutes, I'll try and describe to anyone who's new to the Mount&Blade Warband series, exactly, like you said, the guy at the tavern said most of the kings in this land were basically crap. He doesn't like any of them. Most of them are extremely weak and will rather put fighting over justice. So it's our job to then try and control this entire kingdom, because this kingdom is broken up into 6 basic pieces. I totally missed that. Yeah, he's gone. Well, that's a shame. Anyway, this map is broken up into 6 different nations, essentially. Or 6 different, kingdoms, I guess you could say. I'm gonna level up my Swadian militia because recruits get killed way too easily. I'm good with what I have. So I'm gonna... Oh, I can level up my party again. Recruits and footmen. And I'll explain to you why I immediately go for Swadians. Because, okay, here we have... This is the entire map. Every single town in this can be captured, conquered in some way, shape, or form. Over here, everything that has a blue name, at least in this mod, is controlled by the Nords. The Nords, as you can think of, are very, very strong physical people. They have the strongest infantry in the game. Period. And so that these cities right here that look like they're actually fortified, and they look a bit bigger, like Tyr, Sargoth, Warcheg, the ones that are almost bolden and way bigger, those are the main capital cities. These right here are little castles. This is a little castle. And these are little villages. The villages are where you can like recruit people from. You can see here in the middle of the map, we have the Swadians. Their capitals are Proven, Suno, Uxkhal, and Dririm. I probably butchered those names. They have okay range. They have crossbowmen, but they excel. They have the best cavalry in the game. Arguably. Mixed with the... I'm going to call them Sumerians. Ceredids, I believe is what they're called. But because they're in the middle, they are usually at constant war, and they usually get knocked out pretty early in the game. Here in green, we have the Rhotics. Their capitals are Jakala, Velika, and Yalin. These are probably the hardest people to fight. One of the hardest because they are completely defensive. They have the best crossbowmen, and they probably have some of the most armored elite infantry in the game. They have the most armor, they take the most hits. This makes them especially difficult to try and actually fight in siege battles. Here in yellow, we have the Ceredids. I'm going to call them the Sumerians, because that's normally what I call them. I think they said that they are rival to have the best archers, and they have good cavalry that is supposed to be on par with the Swadians. However, from what I've seen, their cavalry, their elite cavalry, the best cavalry, doesn't use shields. The Swadians do. So if you're trying to invade, or if you're getting invaded by, I think they're called Mamelukes, they have no shields, so you can just headshot them and instantly kill them. And they always have two-handed weapons, so they're more powerful, I suppose, but at the same time, they have no defense. Here in purplish pink, we have the Khans. These are probably the hardest people to fight simply because they are on rocky terrain, for one. Second is most of their troops, except for I think the base tribesmen you get from the villages, as soon as you upgrade them, they instantly get horseback. They instantly get horses. Every single one of them gets horses. And so their skill trees usually divulge into two specs. They either go a lancer, which basically like they charge into a group of people and try and kill at least one, or at least break a shield, or they have horse archers, which are archers that run around in circles and fight on horseback. However, they are extremely hard to hit because one, they are moving, and two, they're on horseback, and three, you'll most likely just end up killing the horse, which is mostly what I do anyway. And here we have the Vyres in the yellowish orange. I'm going to say it's orange. I've heard that they have the best archers, like actual bow and arrow, but in all honesty, they're probably the easiest to kill. Within 50 days, I've actually taken over this entire kingdom by myself with no help other than myself. So that's mainly because their shields are incredibly weak. They have people that run out with no shields or armor whatsoever. They have no cavalry. And that's why I have the Swadians right now. It's because their cavalry is extremely, extremely good. Alright, so I'm going to try and go over here to this little town all the way across the continent because I want to try and get some archers. With bows and arrows, I mean.
We can do this the easy way, or the hard way.
Unfortunately, I got mugged essentially because I was fast forwarding, and like I said, you have to be careful with fast forwarding because you don't know if you're going to get ambushed, especially if your spotting skill is very, very bad. You won't be able to see an enemy until they're right on you, and at that point it might already be too late. And that's what happened, so I ended up getting mugged. Let's go to the party. I have $538, so I can afford to get mugged once or twice. And the reason why I didn't try to fight is because the Forest Bandits actually have archers. They're not good archers, but they can still kill people with no armor, which my people don't have any armor whatsoever. And we don't even have rangers yet. Alright, so right now I have 36 troops. I have 1 Swadian footman, 7 Swadian militia, 11 recruits, Swadian recruits, and 16 Cyrenid recruits. I can't talk to that. So now I'm going to try and find some looters. I prefer not to fight Forest Bandits because Forest Bandits will slaughter my team. And you see here it's saying, in this white text, it will talk about what's happening in the world, such as what castles are being invaded, which kingdoms are getting taken over, which lords are being captured or have been beaten in battle, and so on. Alright, here's 14 looters. See if I can catch up to them real quick. I'm just going to have my troops just sit here. Not sit here, but I'm going to have them run out and try to engage the enemy. But it's likely that I'll most likely slaughter them because I'm on horseback. The looters are the weakest bandits in the game, so it's no surprise I was able to kill them before my team got there. I leveled up. And so you see here, it says like my company is 36 out of 57. So right now, I can only have 57 people in my party at any given time. That can increase depending on your leadership skill, I believe it is. Like here it says like party skills. If I have more leadership, that'll allow me to get plus 5 people, I think. And also your renown plays a part. Like for every 20 renown you get, which you get from battling people, then for every, I think, 20 renown, you get an extra person. And so it says like I'm first, the footmen are second, and then the militia and recruits are third and fourth, and so on. This is your party order. So if you put cavalry up first, they will spawn first, and so they will be able to just jump out of the gate and attack faster and not have to go through enemies. I do not want to fight those 26 forest bandits because they will still kill me. And once I start getting into siege battles, and once I start capturing castles, whenever that happens, I'm going to probably get crossbowmen. What I've learned is crossbowmen are terrible on the battlefield. Mainly because they have extremely long reload times. Ungodly long. So, especially if there's cavalry on the enemy team, you don't have time to sit there and reload after every shot, and that takes like 5 seconds to reload a crossbow bolt. So, at that point, you want a guy who can like knock an arrow in and shoot every second. Oh, he got stuck behind a wall. Damn, nice shot. Alright, so we got one more footman, a couple more militia. And also, depending on weight, like right now I want to fight enemies where you've been seeing me fight on open plains, but if you like go into the woods and get ambushed or something like that, your environment will be surrounded by a bunch of trees and everything like that, which is okay for infantry, but you don't want to necessarily fight that with cavalry because the AI in this is kind of stupid. And they can fight for... They'll run into trees and everything, so, and if they run into trees, then they just lose all the momentum, and they just become sitting ducks. If I wanted to, I could find a training yard, like one right here, and you can spar with your team and give them a little bit of experience, but right now, the experience they gain is almost so small that it's almost not even worth doing at this point. I was hoping to fight the 13 voice bands. I can take the 13. They're outrunning me. They're too fast because I'm the only one on horseback on my team right now. Let's go to the tavern and see if we can find anyone. I was a captain of horse in the service of the Lord here, and my brothers served with me, but we were both in love with the same woman, a courtesan, a temptress who played upon our jealousies. My brother and I quarreled. I had drunk too much. He slapped me with his glove, and I spit him upon my sword. My own brother, my sword arm was stained with the blood of my kin. Do you believe there is hope for a man like me? Can I find the path of righteousness, or am I doomed to follow the demons that dwell up inside of me? Yes, you must have been sent by divine providence. Lead me away from darkness. I am well practiced in the arts of war, but I beg you, sir, I wish to use my skills to defend the innocent, the pure, and the defenseless, not to be a common brigand and wreak more misery than I have already wrought. What you just saw was a conversation with a companion. Companions can join your team for several reasons. Sometimes they're free. Sometimes you have to pay them a little bit of gold. Usually you have to pay them gold. And that one was actually free. And another thing about this mod is in the... God, I can't find any looters. Anyway... Oh, I'm probably going to get pud stomped here. In the base game, if you had a couple companions, they would actually quarrel with each other. So if you had a guy or a woman, because you can actually get female companions in this game too, if they didn't like each other, they could actually make each other leave. Which is not good. Especially considering that some of them are actually very good. Like some people have skills that you really, really want. Ouch, I got hit a lot. That hurt. And you can see in the left-hand corner, if you see something red, it means one of my troops has died. If you see something green, that means one of the enemies have died. And it says who killed them by what, how much damage I've taken, how much damage the horse I'm riding has taken. Right now, I'm just riding in circles trying to dodge arrows. That's normally what I'll do, is I'll engage a fight. And if I'm taking too much damage, I will at least try to make the enemy shoot at me so that they're not pelting on my team. Kill off any stragglers. Alright, so we only lost 3 people, and 1 was wounded, so that wasn't terrible. Upgrade all those. And an interesting thing about companions is I think you can actually make them into lords if you want. And you can also make them level up and gain skills as you would. Alright, so now we need to go out and try and fight some more people, because the more you upgrade people, the more their monthly costs will take. Basically, not monthly, I meant weekly. Every single week, you have to pay wages, because of course your troops don't work for free. So, depending on how skilled they are, like if you just hire someone from a village and they're basically just raw recruits, they're only 1 gold a week. Just 1 gold. But if you get like a Swadian knight who is the best who is also the best cavalry in the game, he can take 32 gold a week, because he's way more beneficial. Nah, if they came from the hill, I would have gotten slaughtered. Alright, I'm going to try and advance and try and draw some enemy fire. Possibly kill a couple of them. They're probably on this hill. Yeah, they're right on the hill. I don't like fighting on a hill, mainly because it decreases my horse's speed, making me an easier target to hit. Alright, level up to level 6. Yeah, so you can see how slow I'm moving up a hill. Ouch. I need to get Farantis some boots or some armor or something. Because companions can't be killed, to my knowledge. As far as I know, they can only be knocked out. And, if they're knocked out, they will take time to heal and they won't be able to participate in the battle. So they're all converging on that guy. Like I said, the AI probably isn't the best. Alright, so only 2 people were wounded. So it's not the worst thing I've seen. I'm going to take arrows because I would rather get a bow and arrow. I just need to find an actual good bow. And I'll take those for Farantis. And here we have the men-at-arms. This is my first cavalry unit for this game. Let me go into... Nope, that's my character. Let's go into party. Farantis. Talk. Let me see your equipment. And then you can give him whatever you want to. So I'm going to give him better clothes. Boots. Nope, his boots are actually better. And I'll give him a helmet. If you can call that a helmet. And he has a sword. Yeah, I'll let him keep the sword. Unfortunately, I don't have a shield to give him. So, alright, so I'll return. Alright, so we have 461 gold and a weekly cost of 182. Eventually what you're trying to do is you're trying to end up getting, you're trying to get experience for your troops and trying to make money so that you can fight harder and harder enemies. These enemies are actually on hard even though I keep losing people to them. Get over here. There we go. Alright. So here we have 2 cavalry units, just men-at-arms. They aren't as heavily armored as the Sweaty Knights, and I have no idea why the music has stopped. Anyway, the cavalry AI is also not that good. They'll usually run into a massive enemies, and just like that, they get stuck, so they get pelted with arrows. And over here in yellow, you'll see that it says my one-handed skill has been going up since I've started. Basically, what that is this game is like an RPG in the sense like you can specialize in certain things, like one-handed weapons, two-handed weapons, pole arms, archeries and bows, crossbows, and so on. And what this is right now, as I'm hitting enemies, I'm getting experience in one-handed combat. Basically, one-handed automatically, of course it means you're getting better with one-handed weapons, but in multiple different ways. One, as obviously you'll do more damage with one-handed weapons. And another thing is you'll be able to attack more frequently. Like you can see this swiping animation. As I level it up more and more, that animation will go faster, and I'll be able to attack more often. Bent arrows. I'll take that and sell it. Put this down here. Yeah, they don't really have good items on them, so... I'll get one more guy in there. We should be almost ready to go out and try to fight harder enemies. Let's try and fight this forest bandit. If he doesn't get away from me. Well, thankfully he led me to where I wanted to go anyway, so... This probably isn't going to be good. This place is really hilly and it's very bad for cavalry. And of course you can... as you can see, you can fight in the day or the night or the afternoon. It doesn't really have an effect, except that it might be harder to find enemies. Especially if you're trying to snipe them. And so here you can see in the blue box, it says like how many on my team there are, how many have been wounded, routed, or dead, how many of the allies that you have are fighting, and how many enemies. Let's get 2 more men-at-arms there. I'll take the short bow. It's not very good, but I might be able to hit it, get a couple levels before I actually fight anything big. And this is where I wanted to be in the first place. This is, we're in the Kingdom of the Vires right now. And this is actually a pretty dangerous area, because, in this area there are... It's probably very early for this, but I'm going to do it anyway. There we go, found one. There we go, Tundra Bandits. Tundra Bandits... No, why? Why'd you run? Tundra Bandits are, Oh, that's not good. I don't really have much of a choice. I gotta charge in. And I'm slow because there's a guy in my way. Nope, never mind. They won't attack. Yeah, you can see that they throw like Jared and stuff, so they are very, very deadly. Extremely deadly. And that's why you normally don't want to fight them until much, much later in the game. Especially this many, but I got ambushed by 3 of them. I was only planning on attacking the 1. Yeah, so I got knocked out, and we probably lost this one. Because we are getting swamped. Unfortunately,
My men would like a word with you about your purse and your belongings.
that did not go so well. So what ended up happening was...
Throat.
Whoops. Well, I gotta fight. I'm probably gonna die, but hey. So what ended up happening was, I wanted to fight the one team that had 25 enemies on them. And I don't know what happened. Normally I can at least get out with a couple... I mean, I get out with a couple casualties, but my entire team won't be demolished. And that's because I wanted to try and catch up to them, because they will drive you. If you are slow enough, they will drag you across the entire... They will drag you across the entire continent. Yeah, so I got knocked out and I'll be taken prisoner, which nothing really happens. You just get drug around. And you can see there's a bunch of those Tundra Bandits. There's a bunch of the Tundra Bandits. And that's not necessarily good. That usually means that there is a there's a camp for them. And we just found a guy called Lezelit. I usually take him because he basically is a leader. He will allow you to get more experience from battles, experience from fighting in general. And you saw me pick up a couple of Vigors, and I honestly don't want to. It's just that I didn't know if I was going to get into a fight or not. And I would rather have some protection than none. So that did not go well for me at all. And as you can see, it said I only had like 69 gold or something like that. So I'm going to go... There's something called the Arena where you can actually fight in. And for rewards. And this is also modded, so this will give you significantly more. This will give you significantly more reward money. Unfortunately, the spawning is pretty bad, so they make you walk across the entire length of the arena to actually get into a new fight. There you go, he's dead. As long as they don't spawn any archers, I'll be good. Alright, that last shield I had was kind of battered, so... The artisans are kind of crap, but they can still deal damage to you. At least in the arena, they don't actually do that much damage. Just that they are really annoying, and they never chase after you. So it usually gives an opponent an extra opportunity to spawn in before you can actually kill him. Just 21 enemies left, and I'll be able to get the full amount. There you go, he's dead. Or he's knocked out. It's the difference between unconscious and dead. If they're unconscious and you have the prisoner management skill, you can actually take them prisoner and auction them off or sell them to a broker. Normally when it hits about 20 people that need to be left spawned, they usually spawn them all at once for some ungodly reason. It goes slow as hell for like 5 minutes, and then they spawn everyone and their brother. There we go. I'm the last guy standing. So we talked to the tournament master, and he gives us 2,500 gold. So that will be able to get us up and running in operations again. I'm going to go over to the training field because now that we have Lezelit, he's able to give people more experience. Like here we just got like 544 experience. So immediately we're able to upgrade like 4 Swadian militia and 3 Viger footmen. I'm going to put the recruits up here. So now we're going to go to the training field. Actually, before we do anything, I'm gonna go back to this town and see if I can go buy supplies because we are broke. We have no food. I didn't even realize that we didn't have any food. And the bad thing about running out of food is if you don't have any food, your morale will go down. And if your morale goes low enough, then your team will start to leave you, which you do not want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm going to the taverns. I'm looking for a particular person. Bread never goes bad. Fruits never go bad. Meat usually does. Unless it's like dried beef, it goes bad. Like the chicken I got will go bad after a couple days, and then nobody will eat it. So now I'm doing some sparring practice, and this is basically like a mini game of sorts. You choose who you want to fight, and then you fight them, and if you can win, everyone gets a little bit of experience. It may not be a whole lot, but sometimes it's enough to get the extra level or 2 that you need. So like here we have a couple footmen, a couple militia, and right now I have a 2-handed sword, so it's going to be interesting. I can't even move. Get off me. There, that's one guy dead. There. The one downside is, if you aren't good with a certain weapon, especially in this, you're most likely not going to do well. Like you just saw, because I didn't have any skill in that, I was not able to attack as fast as I should have been. And they just kept wailing on me. I want at least some hunters or some rangers. Let's do this once or twice more. Stop interrupting my attack. There we go. My guy attacks so slowly from my other characters. Alright, we have one footman. That message you saw popped up was I think it said a declaration of war. Basically now the Swadians are at war with the Nords, as well as the Rhotics. You can see right here there's two factions fighting. You can see which lords are in it, which troops are in it, and so on and so forth. However, I am not part of that fight, so I will not join. But now that the Swadians are fighting basically on two fronts, they're probably going to get destroyed. And right now we just found a bandit camp. That town is being raided, which means basically its prosperity goes down by a lot. And for a while you can't get recruits out of it.
Your money or your life.
I'm going to have my troops sit here for a bit. As you can see, there's a huge, pretty big mob of enemies coming. Yeah, this short boat sucks. But we got one. So I'm telling my infantry to charge forward. I don't have any cavalry yet, so that command wouldn't do me any good. Yeah, I'm trying to at least take a couple shots, at least distract the enemy a bit if I can't kill them. That way their arrows can't go towards my allies. Yeah, we're losing a lot of people. A lot of people getting knocked out, a lot of people are getting killed. But the ones that will survive will be able to level up and become stronger, and we'll be able to pretty much fight these guys single-handedly. Alright, so you won. We lost 11 people and 5 got wounded, but we were able to kill 45 people. Which is not that bad, actually. Oh, I accidentally created Swadian skirmishers. Oops. They'll basically be crossbowmen at that point, and crossbowmen aren't really that good. At least not on the battlefield, anyway. They're not good. Right now I'm trying to poach to see if anybody comes there, but comes to that hideout, because eventually enemy troops will try and go back to that area, and they'll usually try and attack you while they're at it. This guy thought he was going to be able to get support, because if there's a cluster of enemies together, say like there's a one cluster of like 15 enemies, and then next to them is a cluster of 45 enemies, you'll fight 60 enemies in that fight. However, there was a cluster of 35 that was next to them, but I guess they weren't close enough to actually warrant the extra people. So these people will basically just get slaughtered. Which I don't have a problem with, it increases my level. Alright, so we won that. Short bow, well, I already have that. I'll sell that. That chicken went bad. So. Let's try and fight this bandit. I do know that crossbowmen have a much bigger range. But, if they miss, it's not going to do them much good. I'm trying to increase my skill a little bit here, so. As you get better with archery, your accuracy gets better and your damage goes up. And and you'll be able to pretty much hold your breath like you would. Basically, like, when you're using a bow and arrow, depending on how long you hold it, it decreases your total accuracy. Well, that didn't go as well as I hoped it would. All my melee people got massacred. It doesn't help that apparently my archers can't hit people right in front of them. Yeah, so I got knocked out, and now it's just an archery fight. At least it's more entertaining. See, but during when they were actually fighting, they couldn't hit shit. So, basically all my melee guys got massacred. At least I got money out of it. I'm gonna go to the capital that is under siege by all of these Nords. And I'm just going to sit in the tavern. Actually, I wasn't going to sit in the tavern. I was just going to say wait here for some time so I can heal. So now you can see they are actually fighting here. The Nords are trying to take over the city. It's like here, it looks like the Nords are going to take over the city, because up here you can see that the city of Suno only has 282 people that are fighting, while the Nords have 5 people fighting, including their king, who has almost as much as this castle does. And right now I'm moving in to help fight this battle against a bunch of looters, even though I really don't need to. I was actually planning on just taking them out by myself. But they are looters, so... I'm trying to get my archery level up, and honestly, there's probably an easier way to do it. What do I keep running into? My own team? There we go. So he found a count, which I believe is a Rodic. Nope, never mind. It was a guy from Sweden, who has almost as bad of a party as me. Let's move the footmen up. I have a couple levels, so I'm going to go ahead and spend them. I'm going to go a little bit in agility so I can get some horseback archery. Strength. To increase my iron flesh, which is, I'm sorry, I never went over the skills. Here are the skills. Basically you have, of course, your strength, your agility, your intelligence, and charisma. So, like, your strength is every point adds +1 to the hit point, so you can pretty much take an extra hit. The following skills not be developed past a third of strength: iron flesh, power, strike, and da-da-da-da-da. So basically, I can only get iron flesh up to 5 if my strength is 15. And so, like here, agility, each point gives you 5 weapon points and slightly increased movement speed. Intelligence gives you 1 extra skill point. Charisma increases your party limit by +1, but I don't know anybody who actually gets charisma. And here are the actual skills. Iron Flesh gives you 2 extra hit points for every level, I think up to 10. Power Strike each increases damage done by 8% per point. Power Throw, which I never see anyone use, increases throwing damage by 10% per point. Power Draw increases bow damage by 14% per point. Mastery level increases your proficiencies. Eventually, like right here, let's say I want to increase my archery really fast. Instead of actually having to actually go out and shoot people, I can just level up my archery, like this. And you get this by leveling up as well. So eventually it will max out. I won't be able to level it up anymore. If you get Mastery Weapon, you can increase its limits so you can master up your proficiencies easier and cheaper. Shield reduces damage done by shields. Athletics helps you move slightly faster. Riding allows you to have better mounts. Horse archery gives you better accuracy when shooting from a bow on horseback. Looting depends on the increases the amount of loot obtained by 10% per level. Trainer, this is why I hired Lezelet, is because every day each hero with this skill adds some experience to every other member of the party whose level is lower than his or hers. So eventually, once Leslie gets high enough, he'll be able to train every single person and give them a whole bunch of experience for free. Tracking, I have no points in this, so you can't see it, but eventually, if I did get it, you would see little arrows on the ground, and they would be colored depending on how far that target was, how long they'd been there, or who it was. Tactics. Every 2 levels of this skill increases starting battle advantage by 1. Essentially, if you're outnumbered, say 2 to 1, having this can be useful. It will allow you to have more troops on the field. But other than that, it doesn't really do much. Pathfinding allows you to move 3% faster on the map. Spotting increases the sight that you can see. Inventory management pretty much just increases how much stuff you can have in the inventory. Wound treatment, it allows you to heal, you and your party to heal 20% faster per level. Surgery is very, very, very much needed. Each point in this skill gives a 4% chance that mortally struck party members will be wounded rather than killed. This includes the enemy. When I got totally slaughtered by the bandits, you saw a bunch of orange text comes up saying that they were knocked unconscious. If I survived and won that fight without being captured, they would have been brought back into my party instead of being killed. Excuse me, I gotta get a drink. First aid makes it so if you are fighting and you get hurt a lot, say you take half your health and damage. If you max this up entirely, you'll heal back up to like 75%, if not more. Engineering is a skill that you probably won't use till later. It allows you to construct siege equipment and fight improvements more efficiently. If there are walls that you can't put a ladder on a castle or something like that, you will have to build a siege tower, which is a pain in the ass. These things can take literal days to actually make. Days. At which point, the enemy can just come in and say, you know what? I'm going to fight you with my 500-man army, and there's nothing you can do about it. This will allow you to really shorten that time down, as well as and get upgrades for fights such as, I think you can create cells so you can keep prisoners there longer, and I think a message post, so you will be warned whenever an enemy is about to attack them. Persuasion. I've never actually used this skill. This skill helps you make other people accept your points of view. It also lowers the minimum number of relationship needed to get NPCs to do what you want. I'm assuming that's if I were to go and talk to a lord and say, if I wanted to actually create my own kingdom, I can try and persuade them to come to my kingdom if they want, but they most likely won't. They normally have to not like their king, or they've been exiled. Or you can make them say follow you. Prisoner management was what I was talking about before. Every level of this increases maximum number of prisoners by 5. Leadership, I've seen people get. Every point increases maximum number of troops you can command by 5%, increases your party's morale, and reduces troop wages by 5%. And trade is kind of a useless skill. Every level of this skill reduces your trade penalty by 5%. I've never used trade. I don't like using trade. It doesn't do much for you. Especially considering that when you actually start getting fights, you'll start getting thousands and thousands of gold in at any time. So I don't use it. I've seen people who... I don't know anybody who does use it. Anyway, I'm probably going to do one more fight and probably call it a day. At least for now.
Everything has a price. Even your life.
I was trying to go after this group, but I saw that there was also an enemy group nearby that had like 48 people, meaning I would have been fighting about 46 of these guys. That's like potentially 46 arrows that are coming towards you. You do not want that. Oh, I'm sorry, 64 arrows or something like that. You don't want 60 arrows flying down at you and your team. Oh, I hit someone from this distance. Okay. I'm gonna send my infantry in first. Yeah, unfortunately this short bow really sucks. Later bows can like instantly kill people if you can hit them, which is why I was trying to get accuracy up. Nope. Alright, so we lost 2 people. I keep getting these things and I keep forgetting to sell them. I could probably do a couple more fights. And here we have a swaying sharpshooter. You can see he is heavily decked out. And if you talk to them, you click tell me about yourself, you'll see that he's like level 24. He has 52 health, he has this much experience, and so on and so forth. He has 15 strength, 14 agility, 8 intelligence, 7 charisma, and you can see that he has only a 4 on power draw. He does not have that much. He'll get about 56, I want to say, percent extra damage, but he's not really that good. I actually wanted to try and make him a Man-at-Arms, but I accidentally thought he was a Viger. So, and you can see here, like if I go to these archers or anyone else, they have this little grayed out area. That if that isn't bolded, it either means you don't have enough money to upgrade them, or it means they don't have enough experience. But here, if you go into the sharpshooter and marksman, they don't have anything like that. That means that they are completely maxed out. There is nothing that you can do that will make them any better than they already are. Yeah, I don't want to go up the hill. I don't want my cavalry to go in because one, there's not that many cavalry I have. I only have 3 cavalry. And if they go in and get shot at instantly, their shields break or their horses die, they're out there in the middle of nowhere with no one to help them, which is not a very good option. I mean, if I have like nothing but cavalry, if I have like 20 cavalry, I'll do it. But until then, no, not really. So now that I have them distracted, now I'll send in my cavalry. Ouch, these guys hurt. Oh, he's dead. So it should only be about 2 people left. Nope. Yep, we won. With no casualties this time. Thank the Lord. Let's try and upgrade Leslie. Let's see what we can do with him. Tell me what about your skills. We want him to try and get training, so that's intelligence based, but he's gonna need a lot more levels if we want him to do anything in that. So I'm gonna try and give him some equipment that he can probably use. This, he has a short sword, which is better than mine. Boots, does he have boots? Yeah, he's got boots. And you can, and so you can actually outfit him with, like, say, helmets or armor, boots, gloves. You can give him a horse. You can give him weapons. You can almost make them as good as yourself, if not better. In fact, I've seen people fight off dozens, if not hundreds, of people at a time by using nothing but their companions and themselves. It's difficult, but you can do it. So I'm giving my team commands such as spread out and everything like that, because I'm fighting force bands, of course, and they're basically nothing but hunters, and so it's harder to hit an enemy if they are not as close together as opposed to if they're split up, or if they're grouped together, they're easier to hit. And the thing about this game is you can do basically anything you want. If you want to just be a commander, you can be a commander. So as like right now, I can say, I'm not going to go in. I'm just going to let my team fight it out. Or I can decide to go in and help my team if I so wanted. Honestly, I actually like watching some of these battles as they play out. Like, even when I got killed and my hunters somehow won the day, it was entertaining for me. Even if I was dead, I was just watching them get the enemy team get slaughtered by getting shot in the face by arrows. So I think only 2 of them were wounded. Not that bad. I would upgrade to Sway Knight because that's the best cavalry in the game. Actually, I'm gonna do that. It's just that they're very expensive. Like here, like you can see that they cost 34 a week, and that's per. So if you have 10, that's 340 that you're not getting back. Actually, yeah, they are just looters, so I'll just make my troops charge into them. Also, what you can do is you can trade. If you can find out trade routes and everything like that, you can actually do it. You can find out what sells better in what location, so on, and you can make easy money out of it. But for me, in this mod, I normally don't do that. I would just rather go into the arena, where I can also increase my skills in archery or one-handed weapons, two-handed weapons, or pole arms, or whatever, and get 2,500 gold out of winning. Unfortunately, the AI is kind of inept. Like you can see that the cavalry guy is just like walking away in circles, and he's trying to hit people with a lance by using like a basic attack. When a lance is really just meant, it's just, you might as well just have a stick and then point it towards an enemy and just run into them, because that's what it's meant to do. You're not meant to poke them with it like a spear. You're meant to just like run into them at full speed. I'm gonna go over to the Rhodex area and try and get a couple crossbowmen. Alright, so we got 11 new recruits in.
I'd slit your throat for a trinket.
No, it's still too uneven. Is there a flatter area? Alright, I'm gonna try and put my troops right here, because now the enemy can't really shoot at us from that. See, now they can. I'm gonna try and go over here and be a distraction, so that they'll try and shoot at me. Oh, there's a lot of enemies behind me. So my crossbowmen are actually doing well. They're actually shooting people. Trying to hit people that are not looking at me. But we're actually doing well in this mode. We're actually killing them. I don't think we've been... Nope, not even any wounded. And there's only one guy left. Who is now dead. Alright, so we got 470 gold. I'm going to go try and get some Nords, because Nords are great infantry. And I noticed in my last assault, I barely had any infantry. And I didn't want to send my infantry in because I would have sent in the Rhotic tribesmen. And I wanted them to become crossbowmen. I didn't want them to get entirely slaughtered. I have no idea where the hell the music went. Oh yeah, so you can see here, Shino was captured by the Nords. And that's one thing about this game, is that factions will be at constant war with each other. Usually the Khans come out and destroy everything, but it looks like this time the Nords are going to win. Swady at least. But, so the world is constantly evolving in ways. And eventually, it's like here it says that the Kingdom of Rhotic and the Kingdom of Swadia have made peace, meaning that now they won't fight. If they do, it makes them look bad. So now Swadia just has to deal with the Nords, which is still going to be hard. I've tried to fight the Nords. They're not easy. I cannot find anyone. Party. I want to go to my inventory. Yeah, we still have a bunch of bread and a couple fruits. I cannot find any mobs of enemies. I was hoping he would be fighting someone.
Stand and deliver.
There's a river over there, and I don't want to fight in a river because my troops will be severely slowed down. Have my team spread out. Have my team fire at will. And as soon as they start coming up here, I'm going to send my cavalry after them. As well as, like, the one infantry man I have. The Nord recruits are actually killing people. I'm surprised. Normally recruits get totally destroyed by these guys, but that just is a testament to how well the Nords actually do. And if you just saw that, yeah, you see they're throwing axes? Yeah, that's what makes the Nords very, very deadly, is even like the footmen get throwing axes. And at the highest tiers, they actually start getting like javelins and crap. So how would you like to wipe? Have 50 Nords walk up to you, and before they even get within an attacking distance, they're all of a sudden throwing hatchets and shit at you. That would be a nightmare. And it's normally good to have a diverse team. Just be aware that if a I think if I'm pretty sure. Say I went to war with the Vigors, and then I realized, oh, my entire team was Vigors, and then they ended up getting killed off. You will not be able to recruit anyone from the Vigors again. Can't happen. You won't be able to do it. You'll have to. The only way that you can actually get around that is to capture a town or something along those lines, where the Vigors did control. Then go to the town, and then recruit people, because they'll still have Vigors people, but it'll be your kingdom. Yeah, so here you can see them trying to throw Jareds at me and everything like that. They're trying to kill me. They're trying to kill me a lot, but hey, I got a headshot. And see, that's my entire row of just... And so like here you can actually look on the map. You can see up in the corner, you can see my entire row of archers. You can see where all the enemies are at. The only downside is, if you're fighting like the Khans, archers are not your best bet, because the Khans will first attack your front linemen, and if they get killed in the process, then there's not much they can do. However, they most likely won't get killed. So what ends up happening is your troops will separate and start attacking them, leaving your archers completely defenseless. And then the Vigors will just pelt them with arrows, or just charge your crossbowmen or bowmen and just instantly kill them. It's not a fun time. But here you can see that these guys are now more heavily trained. They don't take shit from anyone. They are kind of beastie. And I got 500, almost 600 gold out of that, so I'm going to make a warrior. I'm going to talk to him so we can see how his skills actually match up. So here you can see he has like 14 strength and like 10 intelligence. But he has a 4 in Iron Flesh and Power Strike, as well as a level 5 in Athletics. So he moves pretty quickly. He has he has quite a bit of health, and he deals a lot more damage with weapons. And he's also he also throws stuff. The Nord bowmen are not really that good. I don't know anybody who would use Nord bowmen over the Cyranids or Rhodics or even the Swadians. So here you can just see that the Kingdom of Rhodics, after having just declared peace with Swadia, have now declared war against the Cyranid Sultanate. So now they're going to be fighting it out. Although I'm not sure who would win that fight. I believe the Rhodics would actually have a way better chance, because Rhodics are insanely hard to actually fight. They're insanely hard to fight against, especially if you are sieging them and trying to kill them in their castle. You are going to have a very hard time. Oh, this isn't good. Right now, I'm fighting Sea Raiders, and the Sea Raiders are the hardest mobs that are bandits, I should say. They're the hardest bandits in the game. You can see that almost all of them are decked out in really heavy clothes, really heavy armor. They usually have two-handed weapons and huge shields. This is usually where you want to go to if you want to find good equipment. The only downside is that them being extremely hard to kill, they will probably kill off most of your team if you don't have enough, or if you're not ready. Which it looks like we're actually doing pretty well against them. A couple guys are getting knocked unconscious, but that's kind of par for the course here. One of my swaying men-at-arms just got killed. That's not good. And I remember my friend, we were playing Chivalry, and he's like, oh, by the way, have you ever played Mount&Blade Warband? I was like, no, I never even heard of the game. He's like, I can't even describe it, you just have to see it. I was like, is it any good? He's like, hell yeah, it is. And so I'm normally a kind of person who will take people's opinion with a grain of salt unless I really trust you. And even with him, I was like, huh, what he might like, I might not like. So I go to YouTube, and I never listen to game reviewers or anything. And at this point, this game was only released on PC. So I went to YouTube and watched a couple of videos, and I was like, wow, this game looks really bad. I was talking about graphics-wise. I'm not a graphics person. Games can be great and have poor graphics. I get that. But I was like, wow, this looks really subpar. And then I realized, like, oh, you can have like 300 people in a fight. Okay, well, that makes sense then. And the gameplay is actually very fun. I think that makes up for its pretty piss poor graphics. But like I said, graphics aren't everything. Anyone who tells you otherwise is a hack. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to fight Sea Raiders. Sea Raiders kick your ass. I wanted to fight Tundra Bandits. I thought that's who I was going to fight. And so the Serenade are now at peace with the Khans. I didn't even know they were at war. Usually they start out some countries start out at war. Like I think the Swadians always are at war with the Rhodics.
We'll have our pay. We'll have our fun.
I want my guys to have a little bit of height advantage if possible. And so like here you can see this guy right here. He's got like a whole thing of javelins on his back. So as he's getting closer to fighting you, he's going to pull those out and start chucking them at people. Which can be entertaining to see in their own right. So I'm trying to distract them. Even just by going this close, you can see like my archers are just pelting them with arrows and killing them in mass. And I'm trying to at least distract the enemy. Ooh, that hurt. I just got like hit 3 times. Alright, I just told my cavalry to charge, so they should be getting into the fight here very soon. Ooh, I just blocked that one. There's like a javelin sticking out of my shield now. I just blocked that. Honestly, I don't like throwing weapons. Like, I never use Jerry's or anything like that. Mainly because there's not enough ammo for them. Even in the base game, they only give you like 5, I think. I think they give you 5. And that is never good. Because that's... If enemies have shields, you're probably not going to break that shield with 5 of those Jerry's. Or whatever they're called. You're probably not going to do it. You're probably just going to... You might break it. I'm sorry, that's just not good enough for me. Okay, so we have Northern veterans, and in comparison, tell me about yourself. So now they have 1 more point in Iron Flesh, 1 more point Power Strike, Weapon Throw, Shields, Athletics I think is the same, although they can ride. I don't know why they would have riding, because they don't ride horses or anything. They can't. They don't have any cavalry. Get over here. I'm trying to make everyone split up. Get them a little bit close and tell my infantry to charge forward. All three of them, apparently. I'm going to send my cavalry to go do the same. So 3 people have died. 4 or 5 people have died. 6 from archers. Immediately. So out of like 29 people, 6 of them immediately get killed out of the gate by archers. And that makes them very good at siege. That's why you want to have crossbowmen or bowmen always during sieges if you're defending. And I would honestly rather be defending than actually going into the base, because if you go into the base, you can get slaughtered by the same defense techniques. Because you have to climb a ladder, and think about trying to climb a ladder. You can't hold a shield above your head while climbing a ladder. You're just going to get pelted with arrows, and you're just going to get shot off and killed. Alright, so I have another veteran, another man-at-arms. I need to go back and get more Swadians when I can. Right now I can have a maximum of 59 people. Alright, one more fight, and then I'm going to call it a day, and then I'll upload this. If these people want to fight. Unfortunately, he couldn't get the other 13 people he wanted. And I usually will let the enemy advance on me, because I actually like watching them get slaughtered by my archers. Looks like they have a couple sea raiders here, maybe. Oops, I accidentally hit an enemy with my horse and killed him. I'm surprised he's still trying to fight and he hasn't been routed. Usually if they get totally destroyed and decimated, they try to run away. And so here you can rescue prisoners. Sometimes bandits will actually try to capture enemies. So here, like, say you were at war technically with the Vikings. Here you can actually recruit them because they will say, pretty much these people feel that they're kind of indebted to you, so they'll work for you. But you can't recruit them from villages if you're at war with them. I'm going to hire... I hired the skirmisher because I want more archers. But here, like, you can see, like, this guy... I think they have, like, the kite shield, and the kite shields are kind of crap. And even if they level up, they might actually lose their shields once they hit a higher tier, so... Alright, so I'm going to level up everything, and I think that will wrap it up, everyone. Thank you for joining me on this magical quest, and hopefully soon we'll be able to get contracted or work for another kingdom, and then we can start trying to see some of these bigger battles. But until then, I'll see you all later, and thanks for watching.